Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the pre-show. Just getting all set up. Make sure we are ready to roll at 9:03. And it looks like that is set. Looks like we're all set. We're set and ready to go. So, here we are. Just sit and kill a couple of minutes. This is the pre-show. This is where I usually have a warm-up band, but I don't know where they are tonight. So good to have you all here tonight. As the regular folk shuffle in, it's 9:00 on a Wednesday. The regular crowd shuffles in. So hope you're all doing okay. Randall Flagg, good to see you. Susie Q, good to see you as well. Showing up in the chat room. We got several others that aren't in there yet, but they're out there listening. Remember, the show airs in 25 seconds over on the radio station. That's OdysseyRadio.com. And you can come here for the chat room in the YouTube channel. So I'm going to go dark. We'll be back in just a minute. Sit tight.
The Intrepid radio program with Scotty Roberts. Intelligent talk.
Hey, folks, happy Monday evening. Welcome to the program. I am your host, Scotty Roberts, and this here is my show, the Intrepid radio program, right here on Odyssey Radio. You can go to OdysseyRadio.com. That's ODYSY radio.com to hear this show in its audio format. If you don't have time to sit and watch or don't feel like watching it on YouTube, you can go over to the radio station and just play it in the background while you're doing other things. It's kind of like an audio book. And so go on over and check out Odyssey Radio if you have not. This show is also playing over on my Patreon channel. That's patreon.com/Scotty Roberts. You can check out the show over there. It's quieter over there because there's not a big chat room. There is a comments section. We haven't put up the chat room over there yet because we're mostly broadcasting on YouTube. But if you want the best chat room where everybody comes, come on over to the YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Mr. No, it's not even Mr. I think it's just /Scotty Roberts. Yeah, there it is. It's right there up on the top. So come on over to youtube.com/Scotty Roberts, and you can check out the chat room. Where people are gathering. My eyes are fuzzy tonight. I don't know if this is an age thing combined with other things, but I know my eyes are some days really fuzzy, just for no reason. Other days, they're like crystal clear. So I asked my doc, I said, what's going on with my eyes? And of course, I've got the big D word. I've got diabetes. I think that's why my nose is so red some days. Some days it's really red. Other days it's not. I think it has to do with blood pressure. It has to do with diabetes, all kinds of other things. It's like it's been not so red lately, so I must be doing okay. My eyes, when they get fuzzy, I think my blood sugar must be up or something. Then I check it and I'm fine. So it's just an old age thing. I think I'm just getting old. And not elderly yet, but I am getting older. Jason, good to see you tonight. Who wants quiet in a joint like this? Says Jason. And spot on, brother. Matthew Sainsbury, good to see you as well. Elderberry, nice to have you. Fuzzy, can you shave him? I wish I could. I wish I did something to it. Maybe I can, because I found out I have cataracts in these eyes already. My 63-year-old eyes. And so it's already happening. I've been told on several different fronts, I had my cataracts removed. My eyes became super clear, crystal sharp. So we'll have to see what happens. They said, hey, it's not going to bother you yet, but it already bothers me. I'm bothered if I forget my glasses and I'm watching TV. I got to sit and squint at the TV. I don't like doing that. That bothers me. I can see. I'm not blind or anything, thank God. I see colors brilliantly and light brilliantly and all forms and shapes and everything. I'm just slightly blurry on everything, and it bugs the hell out of me. So it's like getting your TV or your camera just to that focus point where it's like, it's a hair off, and you just can't turn it enough to get it focused. Looking back at old pictures, and you say, why are my pictures all just slightly fuzzy? Because you can't reach that sharp focus for some reason. I think my focus is good. I think my resolution is dimming. I think that's what it is. So somebody said, "Good evening, professor. Is the professor here? I have not seen him." I like the professor if it's the professor and Marianne. So Viking Off-Roading Michael is here. Good to see you, Michael. And so welcome, everyone. Let's get this show on the road tonight. And, do you all have it? You hear me from time to time complain about being a dad of 3 kids. Hello. Do kids ever really listen to you and do what you say? I remember being a pretty good kid when I was a kid. I did what I was told for the most part. Got my junk done for the most part. And so I was talking, somebody just came down the stairs, and I don't want to talk too loudly because I had a little secret that I told Ellery, my 8-year-old, going on 9. She'll be 9 next month. And I said, I got a little secret. I said, do you know what Friday is this week? Day after tomorrow? And she said, no, what's Friday? I said, it's Mom and Dad's wedding anniversary. I said, Mom and Dad have this thing that we do every year. We always see who remembers it first or who forgets it first. And so we always got to be the first one to say something. I've had Rainey gets up, she sets her alarm for midnight so she can be the first one to put a social media post up saying happy anniversary. Ha, I beat you to it. And so it's not a big deal, but so I told the girls, Ellery and Rowan. I said, well, it's our 16th wedding anniversary. So Mom and Dad have been together for 18 years. We've been married 16 of them. And as of Friday, the 27th. And I said, but don't say anything. Don't say anything to Mom. Why not? And I told them why. The reason I just gave you. Because we like to see who can remember it first. And so don't say anything to Mom. Okay, we won't. So I'm upstairs just about 10 minutes before the show started. And Rainey's up there in the kitchen, and Ellery's doing something in the kitchen. And I walk up, and Rainey and I are talking. And so Ellery looks over at Mom. She goes, hey, Ma, what's Friday? And see, the whole thing is don't remind her what day Friday it is. Then she'll remember the reason. That there's a contest going on here. And we've been doing that for like the last 10 years. Hey, Ma, what's Friday? And I look over at Ellie and I stared her daggers. I'm like, Ixnay on the Friday bay. However you say that. And she wasn't getting the message. She didn't quite get it. Well, I didn't tell her what Friday was. Well, no, now you got her thinking about it, though. Now she's going to figure out what's going on Friday. So there you go. Kids, can't tell them nothing. Can't. So I think Ellery ruined my contest winning for Friday. So the challenge is off. And let's see what actor Roy Thames as David Vincent. Oh, you're talking about the old show, The Invaders? Is that what you're talking about over there? Oh, yeah, there it is. Matthew Sainsbury. A series I saw called The Invaders. Yeah, that show came out in the 60s. I was a little kid, and you weren't even born yet, Matthew. We were watching that show on our black and white TV set back in the late 60s and reruns in the early 70s. So it was pretty cool. So welcome to everybody. Sarah, welcome to you, and Matthew and Michelle Kenham Free. It helps me to remember that I've survived 100% of my hardest days. So I'm missing some of the conversation over there, but that's okay. Thank you all for being here. I have my glasses on already tonight, not just so I can read everything, but because my eyes are fuzzy tonight. Jason said, would have got away with it too if it hadn't been for those meddling kids. Yeah. And I'd have got away with it if it weren't for those meddling kids and their dog. So, exactly. So I couldn't believe she was actually doing that right in front of me. Hey, Ma, what day's Friday? What's happening Friday? It's like, shut up. She'll figure it out. So anyway. Oh, based on my title? Why, thank you, Michelle. I think the title of the show tonight, Resilience. Yes. And let's stop with the small stuff and the finer things. And let's get into this a little bit. Resilience. Would you consider yourself to be a resilient person? And what is it that makes resilience? And why is it we even talk about resilience? What are the things that resilience brings that makes it one of those commodities that we want to have? Not really a commodity because we're not paying for it per se, but resilience and emotional resilience. What's resilience? I always thought resilience was that thing that says you have that ability to bounce back and to bounce back easily. And there are ways to bounce back easier. There's ways to become more resilient. I've got all kinds of stuff that I wanted to cover tonight on this particular topic. But I started out with saying there's 5 ways to channel your inner badass. And that inner badass is your resilient spirit that's waiting for you to just bring it back to life. And that there's life hacks that can help that. There's always ways to summon up your inner strength that you might not be aware of. And it's easy to get stuck in thinking mode. Thinking mode. When getting out of your head offers a better way. And we're all resilient. We just need to tap into the right mindset. So tonight, Wednesday night, after about a week of talking about Israel and Hamas and everything that's going on in the Middle East and the possibilities of World War III and all the political wrangling that's going on out there, I tend to think, and we'll cover this another time, I tend to think that while we have bad actors in this world, we have bad seed, we have people that do bad things, I also think we've evolved as a society that to say that, let's say there was some kind of prophecy of destruction and the end of the world and the end of mankind, the Armageddon, so to speak. Can we stave that off? Because we've developed over the 2 millennia since some of that was written, the ability to see things and better things and change things. Well, in the day that was written 2,000 years ago, armies moving in from the north on Israel to destroy Israel, that wouldn't have been unheard of. And nowadays, today, though, we look at that and we go, what is wrong with people? I think mankind I don't think mankind is degrading on that evolutionary scale. I think we're getting better. And I think we have the ability to think our way through these things. There are people that definitely don't want to, and that's what you'll be up against. So, and this is why I said, we've dealt with a lot of this stuff this week. Maybe let's take a little turn. Let's get out of the thick and the heavy for at least a day and hit this thing on resilience. Now, maybe this is heavy to some people because there are a lot of people out there. I know some of you, you know who you are, that are weighed down with the affairs of life. Your marriage weighs you down, your relationships, your work, your money, all the stuff of life that makes at least life in the West workable. And if you don't have the money worry or the lawnmower working or the car or the job or the marriage or so on, what if you're living in a third world country somewhere else, some little adobe hut somewhere? You might have a worry that it's going to be a dry summer, or you're not going to have enough rain for your food that's growing out in the dusty field. So we all have our worries, and I don't think many of us listening to this show have that particular problem. But we all have stuff. Sarah Youssef raised his hand. I don't know if that was in response to what I said or not, or something completely different. But Michelle Canterbury says, I'm thankful for it all. Prepared me for what was yet to come in my life. That's it. And so there are life hacks that we can do because you know what? We all have shit. We all have bullshit. We all have stuff we deal with. Even though in a first world setting like we all live in here in the West, we rise to our faults. We rise to the things that are the bad things in our life. And what I mean by that is we have such a level of advancement here in the West, this first world thing, that when something goes wrong, we don't realize we all still have a house to go to. Although, there are people that lose them too. We have a house. We still have the internet. We get on the internet to complain about how lousy our day was. So even though we have the setbacks, we've got those positive things as well. So Susie Q says she wants to know if endurance is the same thing as resilience. I think they are similar. I think they're similar too, Susie Q. Let's get into that as we go here, because resilience is that part of endurance that brings you up and elevates you and lifts you up out of the things you have to endure. I believe resilience is that thing. It's kind of a resurrectory thing, if I can coin a word. It's that thing that raises you up from the things you have to endure. So yes, they're related. But let me hit really quickly. I've got some things. These are not the 9 things that I said in the header today, but you got 5 ways to channel your inner badass, because we all have things we have to overcome. And the word overcoming is tricky in the English language. We don't have a word to describe the ongoing tenacity it can take to work through adversity. That's your endurance, I think. The persistent setbacks, the consistent life challenges that are thrown our way. The word strength can seem a bit mild sometimes and generic, while persistence or endurance, I've got that word in my head now since Susie Q, since you brought that up. While persistence in the face of difficulty seems to be a better fit. But at any rate, the best word I can think of to illustrate the personification of all of these attributes is badassiness. How badassery? How much badassery do you have? How badass are you? We see things, we use that as a fun compliment. Oh, they're badass. That is badass. She is badass. He is badass. And do you think of yourself when you have your own difficulties? Do you say to yourself, I'm badass. I can do this. I can handle this. So there's lots of ways that you can get in touch with your inner badassiness. Here's 5 of them. I'm going to give you 5 of these, and we're going to move on to my 9 list. That's why I said 5-ish in the header, or 9-ish things on my list. Make a list of all the things that you've overcome and how you did it. I never thought I'd make it is a common statement, common sentiment when you talk with people out there. When I was in ministry, I didn't think I'd make it, people would say. Navigating the new normal, which I hate. I don't think there's a new normal. Everything's normal. This is life. This is who we are. We're human beings. It's common to feel overwhelmed when facing what feels like an insurmountable, huge life change. Taking small steps might feel insignificant, especially when you're using those small steps to feeling in a sense of control or mastery over whatever your situation might be. And it feels like they're too small sometimes. But when we add them all up, keep moving ahead and look back over time. It can feel like a huge accomplishment, and it is. Keep moving forward. You know where I heard that was the animated movie Meet the Robinsons. Of all places. Keep moving forward. It was about the little boy who travels in time, orphan boy, and becomes something. And you have to watch the movie. It's a sweet movie. My son Flynn, I have to say, as an aside, he used to watch that when he was younger. That movie would play a couple times, and he would get very... There was one time we were watching that, and we hadn't seen it in a long time, and he kind of turned toward Mom at certain places, and I thought he was upset. And I said, "What's the matter?" And Rainey said, "This part really gets to him." And it's the part where the little boy time travels and sees his mom dropping him at the orphanage. And it's all the emotions, it's the music, it's everything. If you've ever seen that, you'll see what I mean by that. And it's based on lots of other stories. I got to see what you're saying about Invictus. Jason, you said Invictus by William Ernst Henley. Invictus, out of the night that covers me, black is the pit from pole to pole. I thank whatever gods may be. In the fell clutch of circumstance, for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I've not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloodied, but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how strait the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. That's good. I had a pastor when I was a kid who used to use that verse as a negative, an utter negative, because he was preaching Jesus is the master of your soul. That always comes up for me whenever I read that, although I love this poem. And go look him up. Just an amazing poem. It matters not how strait the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Big one taught to soldiers regarding resilience. I get that. So what else can we do? Get out of your head is number 2. Get out of your head and into your body. There's many benefits to moving your body. I find when I feel the most down or the most blah, I'm just not with it. Everything is a problem. It's when I don't do anything, when I'm not moving. What do they say? One of the worst things that you can do to yourself, bring on an early death, is get sedentary and stop moving. So I find when we're all just kind of feeling blah, it's because we're stuck in ruts and routines, and the routines overwhelm us, and there's no time, there's no fun, there's no time for release, and we tend to get overwhelmed. And I'm not a depressive person, but I couldn't imagine somebody who is that gets stuck in a rut. That can overwhelm you. It's common for people nowadays to camp out in their minds, believing that somehow we can think our way through whatever's going on, but overthinking can lead to depression, anxiety, avoidance behavior patterns that keep us isolated, keep us disconnected, when connection is really what we need. There was building a shirt for Andy, my good friend Andy, who I wrote the book for, and he was working on his anxiety for years. It's been a lifelong struggle for him. And there is a shirt that we did that I designed for his anxiety stuff a while back. And the shirt itself says, "Great minds overthink alike." And isn't that the truth? A great mind is going to continue to overthink things because it's the way we are. It's what we do. So, great minds overthink. And I just lost my page for the show here. Where's my show page? I don't even know if you can see me. Did I shut it down? Am I still here? Blah, blah, blah. StreamYard. Oh, there we are. StreamYard. Woo! Thought I turned us off. So, as we start to deal with these things that we feel are the things that overwhelm us, we've got to find ways to channel our inner badass. So that second one is get out of your head and get into your body and do things. Movement. Embodied movement in any form that forces us out of our heads, connecting us to our bodies and the world around us. And the next time you're tempted to try thinking your way around a situation, which is one of my things, I got to think things through. Find ways to move the body. Go to the gym, go for a walk, do something. It sounds so ridiculously simple, but it is. Number 3, make an empowerment song playlist. Are you not into music? I love music, and I love, there are certain songs I have to play because they speak to me on a level that I need to hear. There's all kinds of, you can think of your empowerment song list. For me, music for me has a lot of pathos in it. My passions are wrapped up in music. So if I need empowerment, I don't listen to Eye of the Tiger or something like that, which originated in Rocky way back, one of the Rocky movies, or Fight Song. That doesn't do it for me. It might for you, so I don't mean to laugh at it. Sarah Bareilles, Brave, Van Halen's Jump. These are some people that people use these songs for empowering themselves. I tend to like other songs. I like songs like, it sounds funny. Remember Disney's animated Hercules? I Can Go the Distance. I like that song. That empowers me. And there's other songs that empower me. Professor Bauer says, never underestimate an overthinker when they tell you they love you. They most certainly have thought of every reason not to. That's very true. I have read that before. They've thought of every reason not to. And so that's there. There was an article out there by Hershmet Sharam, PhD. He had an article, 6 Ways Listening to Music Can Lift Your Mood. Do you ever find that music can lift your mood or alter your mood? It's no accident that dance music makes people happy because it's easy to attune to its rhythmic pattern. Our internal rhythms, e.g. our heart rate, speed up or slow down to become one with the music. And music has that unique capacity to hijack our emotions. I can sit and listen to a good song, and the turn of musical phrase, and what I mean by that is not necessarily always the lyric, but even the music itself. Professor Bauer and I were talking about this 6 months ago, about certain clips of music and how a certain turn of music, oh, it can just light the passions in me. It can bring tears. It can bring fulfillment. All of those things. So music. Try music. It's got a unique capacity to hijack your emotions and to propel you out of a funk when you're prone to go there. So you can be a badass through playing whatever music is your badass music. Surround yourself, number 4, with people who celebrate you. You do that? That might sound very egotistical. I'm going to celebrate, or I'm going to surround myself with people who celebrate me. It's not that way. When you're going through challenges and times that really suck, it can be tempting to hunker down, isolate ourselves, get inside our heads, turn off all the noise from anything perceived stressful or overwhelming. That's okay for a while. Don't get me wrong. But we need a supportive community to really thrive. I think this community does that to a certain extent. Studies have shown that the people we spend time with have a tremendous impact on our moods, our attitudes, our behaviors. And it's important to understand that the quality of our relationships impacts our overall well-being in life, day to day, hour to hour sometimes. And to determine if the people we spend the most time with lift us up or pull us down. Rainey and I, last weekend, when we got to go out with our friends, Car and Marion, I hadn't gone out with them in years. And we'd been in touch over the years. We just hadn't been out. We hadn't done things together. And they didn't really ever hang out with Rainey since Rainey and I have been married. Car and Marion and I have never really done much together. We see each other now and then. We talk on the phone. I've gone out with Car for drinks. But we haven't done anything as two couples. So we went out, and it was just brilliant. It was almost life-giving to go out and spend that time with people who celebrated me and I celebrated them, and vice versa with Rainey. Same thing. She was so uplifted. She felt so good for 2 days after just going out for dinner for a few hours with friends. That is the magic of that. Are your friendships giving you a boost or letting you down? It's a good question to ask. I would argue that the most powerful thing you can do to add healthy years to your life is to curate your immediate social network. And I don't mean that necessarily internet social network, your intimate social network. And in general, you want friends with whom you can have a meaningful conversation. You can call on them on a bad day, and they're going to care about what you have to say. Your group of friends are better than any drug or anti-aging supplement. Trust me on that. And they'll do more for you than just about anything. So number 5, in being a badass, fake it till you make it. Believe me, that's a good one. There's a lot to be said for intentionality and digging deep into the inner well of resilience. Like so many things in life, believing in your badassy self is a practice. You have to do it and do it again and do it again and get better and better at it. Sometimes we need to shake off our preconceived beliefs or our value judgments, even the ones of ourselves, And we just need an occasional nudge or permission to continue forging ahead. So it's important to have an empowered vision of yourself and to believe in it, whatever it takes, and know that the world out there awaits an empowered, resilient you. So you can get out there and make it happen. That sounds a little rah-rah, sis boom ba, I know, but there's a lot to that. Find your inner badass. And I bring that up because I know so many people who wallow in all the stuff that goes wrong. Oh, I did this. Oh, I did that. Oh, my health today. Oh, my hair today. I do that. Oh, my baldness today. Oh, I'm fat today. Oh, my job didn't work right today. Oh, I'm so sick of kids today. I'm this, I'm that, I'm that. And we just let that stuff bulldoze us. We're not badasses at all. We're simpering little pussies when we do that. Pardon the word. It fits. So do you want to be a simpering fool? Or do you want to be a badass? If you're a badass, you shake it off. You do what you have to do and you move. Now, is it only positive people? I'm a fairly positive dude. I get all my negatives out here on the radio show. Talk about my kids. I talk about this and that and the other thing. And, and this guy did that. And I got to go to court for that idiot. Blah, blah, blah. So I can get all my negatives out here. But those are not the things that run who I am. Is it only positive people that can find their inner badass and bring it out? Or is that supposed to be everybody can do that? I think everybody can do it. And that's resilience. There's an art to resilience. Many of us sit back and we go back to our troubled childhood as the reason for our lacking resilience and badassery. But that's really a lie we've told ourselves. Yes, there are things that affect us when we're young. Things that affected me when I was young. And if I didn't recognize them and work to overcome them, they would still bury me because I let them. I let them kick the ass of my badass. And there is no resilience. Do you think you're a prisoner of a troubled childhood or a troubled youth? Think again. You don't need to go through the rest of your life as an emotional cripple because of something that happened when you were young. You don't need to go through your life as an emotional cripple because of that bad relationship you had in your 20s or 30s or even 40s or 50s. Those things do not control who we are unless we give them control of who we are. It's like I say, it's the same principle when I say you can't offend me, because in order for me to be offended, I have to appropriate the offense and make it my own. I decide not to appropriate it. That's not my offense. I'm not taking that. Same thing with the bad things that we say happen to us. What makes you a badass in life? It's being able to look at the things that could crumble you or cripple you or handicap you and going, I will not be brought under by the power of anything. I will take dominion over it. I used to say when I'd read tarot a lot more than I do these days. I still do read tarot. But I would get the devil card. And I brought it up that way because I formulated certain phrases and thoughts I would use with individual cards. And the devil card would come up for people. And I go, oh my God, I got the devil card. I go, no. The devil card simply means in this situation, most times it means you have to look at your devils and defeat them. You have things that you need to overcome. And there can be other things involved in that, but let's stick on that particular point. Look the devil in the eye and he will flee from you. There's even biblical passages on the spiritual aspect of devilry that says, I think it says directly, resist the devil and he will flee. I think we overcome our devils by looking them in the eye, not by hiding from them. We badass ourselves over our demons, and that's how we overcome them. Now we've got about, what have we got here? I got to look at my clock. I've got my clock buried here. Let's see, where are we? In Windows. 38. We got plenty of time. We got about 15 minutes left before we go off the radio. So I want to cover, there's so much more on this badassery thing and our troubled pasts and our troubled things, our relationships, all of that. We have to reframe ourselves every day. There's lessons that we have to have. I've got a little note here. Psychologist Edith Grotberg believes that everyone needs reminders of the strengths that they have. She urges people to cultivate resilience by thinking along 3 lines. 1, I have. 2, I am. 3, I can. That sounds an awful like, I think I can, the little engine that could. There's something to those little nursery ditties that we learned when we were kids. I have strong relationships, structure, rules at home, role models. These are the external supports that are provided. I am a person who has hope and faith, that cares about other people, is proud of myself for what I accomplish. These are the inner strengths that can be developed. And I can communicate. I can solve problems. I can gauge the temperament of others. I can seek good relationships. These are all interpersonal and problem-solving skills that are acquired as we practice being a badass. Are you a badass in life? And that brings on the original post that there are 9 ways to be resilient in tough times. And since we have we got 13, 14 minutes left, we'll make it. So here's how you become more emotionally resilient in the face of all the uncertainties that we think we have in life, the tough times. So when uncertainty stresses us out, it makes us wonder which path we're going to take, what decision to make, whether to respond at all to things. It can be crippling for some of us. I don't know what to do. Some people have anxieties and makes it even worse. But that only happens if we have not developed emotional resilience. Even people with clinical depression, people with anxiety that is clinically diagnosed, yes, it takes some chemical balancing out sometimes. There needs to be sometimes chemicals that help you balance, drugs. But you can develop emotional resilience. And if you're not sure you struggle with resilience, there are things you can look at in your life to decide whether or not you do. If you do struggle with resilience, how do you move through the challenges? How do you accomplish that? What are you doing? How can you become more emotionally resilient in the face of uncertainty? You have to outsmarting your smartphone. It's conscious habits for finding happiness. There's balance and looking for these things. And to get started on all that, here are 9 things I want you to think about and apply these. Number 1, and these are going to seem so simple, you go, oh, that's it. Yeah, they're simple things. They start as simple things. We talk about them. Chemicals do not help you balance. Sean, I would only disagree with that in the respect that when I worked with some people when I was in ministry that were psychologists and psychotherapists, There were sometimes I had my ex-wife was a manic depressive, bipolar. She had to take certain drugs, those chemicals that would help balance an imbalance she had chemically in the brain. Could she do that? It's like saying, I have diabetes. Would I be able to conquer diabetes without chemicals? Yeah. That's a lot of work, though. I'd have to go live with an Aboriginal tribe somewhere for a year. So I think that there are some chemicals we have to have, like my heart. I have to take certain chemicals for my heart because I have fake stuff in my heart. So I have to take chemicals for that. That helps maintain that. So I think I know what your point was, Sean. I get where you were going with that. But I think there are some chemicals that we need that bring certain balances back to us physically or mentally or emotionally. So anyway, the first of these 9 things, try to be flexible. Many times we have difficulty learning to go with the flow. Obstinacy, ego, our fixed beliefs, our expectations, our habits are some of the things that lead us to resist change. But when the house you thought you'd live in forever is destroyed by a fire or a hurricane or lost in a divorce, or the job you'd trained for has been automated, or perhaps the love of your life has married someone else, what do? It can be heartbreaking and crushing all at once. But it's also true that your life is demanding a course change. So in these situations, it's wiser to practice acceptance and acknowledge that the situation has changed. Be flexible. You go, I hate this. This fucking sucks, but I got to move on. I have to be flexible. I have to shift my thoughts because that's the only way forward. Number 2, practice being okay with discomfort. Discomfort's a natural thing, guys. What's a beautiful thing about having a baby. But most women will tell you it's not a comfortable experience. So that's an extreme example, but discomfort is natural. So when we're navigating a situation in flux, most of us are going to feel somewhat unsure of ourselves. And this is pretty normal. Accepting yourself and your situation is a good place to begin. Be flexible, and at the same time, be okay with being a little bit uncomfortable. You'll build emotional resilience. It's like lifting weights. You build resistance by being uncomfortable and breaking down muscle. The same thing emotionally. The same thing. Semper Gumbai. Is that what you just said? Semper Gumbai, Jason? Yeah. So develop your flexibility, develop your ability to start coping with discomfort. Discomfort's going to come. I'm going to expect that it's going to happen. So start building up your resistance to it. Number 3, learn from your mistakes and your successes. Don't panic all the time. Don't allow discomfort amid all these uncertain circumstances to reveal something about yourself. You can grow. You can become more emotionally resilient. Trial and error are how we learn. So once you adapt to being somewhat uncomfortable, you can apply yourself to the challenge at hand, which often triggers a flood of whole new ideas. And this opens up all kinds of new avenues to learn from your mistakes and your successes. Resilience is just getting back up to where you fell down, from where you fell down. So if you're willing to learn from your mistakes, don't be afraid to make mistakes because they'll make you more emotionally resilient. Gotta have persistence too. Number 4, step back to gain a broader perspective. Widen your field of vision. You do that by reviewing the past and imagining the future, or manifesting the future, as we've talked about. Envision it, manifest it. And from this perspective, envision various plans. Estimate how they might unfold into the future until you discover a path that shows the promise. That folks, is vision and manifestation. You look ahead. You try, you mull over the things that might work, and you try to implement them. You see where they go. Be a badass about it. Then give us a shot. If that one doesn't meet your life goals, don't hesitate to try another approach. A shift in perspective can help you see the situation from all kinds of new points of view and try out new solutions that can make you more emotionally resilient in the future. So, step back and get a broader perspective on things. Incorporate your badass. Incorporate your badass. Sean Stroig asks, what is comfort? Comfort's when you incorporate your badass and you find ways to circumvent or plow through the discomfort. 5, coordinate with other people. Review your options and then enlist people that can help you get to where you want to be. And before moving forward and taking action, share your uncertainty and your brainstorm ideas for how to move forward with colleagues and friends. Remain open to suggestions, but defend ideas that you really believe in with fervor. Defend them. You'll notice me, I got into the habit a long time ago of defending my opinions because I work very hard at trying to find solutions and move myself forward and find my badassiness and implement what I believe. And so sometimes you really got to fight with me to offer me an opinion that might differ with mine. Doesn't mean I'm closed-minded. It means I've worked very hard to establish an opinion and move forward. Flexibility was the first one. Remember that? The first of these 9. So number 6, when at a loss, imitate somebody you respect. That sound weird? It's not weird. Sometimes the hurdles seem too high, or we're at a loss about how to proceed. And in those moments, we don't feel very emotionally resilient, do we? And one trick is to think of someone you respect and imagine what they might do in this situation. For example, you might think about how your friend Captain Kirk might have done something. Now that's a fictional character. You hail to your friends. You hail to your heroes. Look to the people you know who are gracious and balanced. And how do they maintain in the face of crisis? Doesn't mean they don't have their own issues. It means they found ways to maintain. A shift in the way you act can give you ideas for how to be more emotionally resilient. Number 7, practice self-compassion. Don't be so hard on yourself. In difficult moments, it's essential to practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself to maintain your self-confidence. It's okay to take some time to release your disappointment or to take a break from the routine or walk or run. Go hiking, do something to process your thoughts and release pent-up emotions. Eating healthy, bing, 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 bing. That's a big one for a lot of us. Eating healthy can do something. Do you know, all this week I had really rough. My upper stomach was hard and I felt like, God, am I sick or something? And it finally passed in more than one way. And it's just the stuff I was eating. And so today, what did I do? I ate very light. I ate broth and stuff like that instead of yesterday was carbs. So that kind of thing. It's that same, use that mentally and emotionally. Number 8 is celebrate your successes. After all the work you've done to wend your way through uncertain times and situations, once you've initiated a plan that's working or you picked yourself back up, celebrate it. Practice being grateful for who you have been as well as who you're becoming. Be a badass and pat yourself on the fucking back for it. Number 9, we actually made it to number 9, Sarah. She's my little clock out there some days. I just squeaked laughing. Number 9, learn to love change. Heraclitus once said, the only thing that is constant is change. Besides, doing the same thing over and over again can wear us down. With its accumulative boredom, I get bored with stuff real easy. Change breeds something different and potentially exciting. New efforts stimulate growth potential through new experiences. And it's our ability to respond to life. Our ability to respond to life. That's our learning to love change. And that's being put to the test every time you have to work against the things that are difficulties. And the more you exercise this muscle, the more we're going to feel invigorated by the variety of life. And therefore, the more emotionally resilient we become. Ask yourself right now, am I a badass? Am I a badass with the difficulties of life? Because if you are, you've got no problems working at overcoming stuff. So work on that. We're going to come back with the Captain's Cabin, but we got to say goodnight to the radio audience. Radio audience, thank you for being here. Stick around, everyone, for the Captain's Cabin over on the YouTube channel. Live long and prosper. See you in a few minutes.
Join us every weeknight at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern. The Intrepid Radio Program, a Scotty Roberts Productions broadcast.
Hey folks, this is Scotty Roberts, and this is the Intrepid Radio broadcast. I've been broadcasting for about 20 years now, covering such topics as science, politics, the paranormal, weird science, weird world history, archaeology, and the paranormal. Everything from ghosts to cryptids to creepy things that go bump in the night. So every week I bring you 3 new episodes. Come and join my channel and also be a patron to this site. So see the details below, and we'll see you here. All right, folks, we're back. Welcome to the Captain's Cabin. Thanks for waiting and sitting in the wings like that as all this stuff played. Let me get rid of this banner from the show. And boom, there we go. And now it's just us. Good to see you all. Glad that you made it in here. I did want to mention something because the ad came up. The Ancient Heroes trading cards. I know you've all seen them because I've shown them off here before, but we're already putting out announcements to say if you want to get some of these for Christmas, now's the time to get them because they're going really fast. And we're not just using that as a line to say, oh, just tell everybody they're going fast and they'll buy them faster. That's not it. They are moving pretty fast. And so I want to give you the opportunity, and I'm going to throw a picture up here, just the last little ad we put together so you can see them. Remember, these cards, it started as an idea to try to do some heroes of the Bible without screaming Bible. That was the idea with them at first. We didn't want to sound like Bible thumping weirdos trying to sell these things. And so we wanted to come up with something that meant something and looked good. And it was something that was able to be, I may not have shown them here because I don't think I have them in a form that is PDF. So I'll open this and I'll transfer this over so I can load it up. But we wanted to do something that was good for kids. It's good for kids in churches. When we wrote these cards originally 30 years ago, even back then, the way I teach on this show and the things I teach about biblical events and biblical personages and biblical history, that is all something that I write and I take great pains to make sure I am giving you information that is new. Not just new for the sake of being new, but new because it's got updated information, updated archaeological information, updated historical information. And that's what we wanted to do with these cards. Now, my partners in that were a little more right-leaning when it came to Bible stuff than I was. So I had my chance at writing some of them and lobbying for certain ideas that I wanted to have in the cards, and that was fine. Well, they came out 30 years ago, and they did a good job, and it attracted a lot of attention. But now when we had the opportunity 30 years later to be able to do these cards again, I revamped all the artwork, as you know. I did some new illustrations. I used a lot of the old illustrations and revamped them and made them better. I believe better than they were. Fixed the backgrounds, fixed the designs, fixed everything about them. And so we put them out to have something that was going to be, and I got a chance to touch up some of the writing too. Some of the history we didn't put as much in there as I wanted because the owners, they wanted to have a little different feel, a little different purpose behind them. And if there was controversy, say we're talking about Senenmut being Moses, there's controversy on that. There's other ideas out there. So she didn't want to promote ideas that were controversial as much as just the message itself. So some of that was there. But here is this is the latest graphic I did promoting the cards. And they're selling for $7.99 or $8 a pack. You just go to the website, ancientheroesofthebible.com. And you can pick up packs of these cards. And they're $8 a pack. You get 8 cards per pack. Makes it $1 a card. If you figure the foil wrapper is free. So you can pick up a pack of 8 for $8, or you can get the whole set for $47.50. There's 48 cards. And you can go to the website and you can order either one. I've got my own set is coming. so I can show those off to you, by holding them in my hands and stuff. But if you're interested at all in getting this set, this is what I've experienced my whole life with social media, especially. When I started publishing Intrepid magazine, I had thousands of people. Oh, cannot wait till that magazine is out. I am going to subscribe. And within 3 weeks, when we started the subscriptions, out of those 1,000 to 2,000 people, we got 12 subscriptions on social media. We carried on for 3 years, but we got our subscriptions in other places. So it's that kind of a thing. So if you say you want them and you really do, I'd go get them while you can, because I don't know when we're going to re-release these. If they all sell out, we'll do another run of them. And that's not in my ballpark. That's all my partners on that. Frankly, I'm just the artist and the designer. I'm the creative on this. And so they'll decide what to do with them. But if you go over to Ancient Heroes of the Bible, if you want to get some of these cards, get them now while you can. So play the hell out of the cards you were dealt. There it is. Exactly, Michelle Cannon Free. So go check them out. Go online, check them out. So there it is. That's all that is. Since the ad played, I wanted to give you a little more information on that, on what they're doing. They're out. They're available. And hopefully you can get yours before they're gone. Also, the archaeology book, How to Be an Archaeologist. I have not talked to the publisher on that for a while. Pete, I've got to see where that's at. If we've got those, going to be here in time for Christmas. He said he was really shooting to have Christmas. He'd wanted to do pre-orders on them, but we haven't talked about it at all. So I'm not quite sure where that's standing at the moment, but we'll see what's going to happen with that. So hopefully it'll be ready for Christmas. And that's all I got for that kind of stuff. What's everybody else got? If you want, you can call into this show. We can talk. Probably, I don't know that we're going to get in real deep and last an hour in the captain's cabin, but there's always the potential. Here's the call-in link. If you want to call in, you can call in. Your face will come up on here, or you can just do a blank screen. I've had people call in and they block their camera. Their voice will work, but they don't want people to see their camera. So see their face. I don't know why. It is what it is. What are we wishing Sean the best on here? Oh, we got Jason. Let's bring in Jason Patrick.
Oh, God.
How you doing, brother?
Doing all right. Just working on a hat.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, got to.
I should have put one on tonight.
After you had mentioned the other day on your show about talking with John Penman.
Yes.
And how he had said, well, have him send me a hat and I'll give him an honest critique. I have been like, I need to build a couple more before I send something. The prospect of doing that excites me.
Well, all my
and terrifies me.
My son Sam stole my whiskey-colored one. He's got that. He wore it one day, and he wore it to Uncle Dave's memorial services. And then he wore it home. So he's got that. He loves it. Flynn likes my last Penman I got. It's got the shorter brim on it, the narrower brim. And but this, as you all know, this is my Casablanca right here. And this is my Humphrey Bogart replica. And I love this hat. I love the lines on it and the shape on it. But this is the one I also wore a hole into the crown. So there's that one. And then now, this will give you an idea. This one I just had on, this Casablanca right here. This is Rabbit. And it's very well made. This cost me 10 years ago, I want to say $450 is off the top of my head for this hat. Worth every penny. Now, he made then a few years later his, as we were talking about the other day, his Everyman hat. This is his line that is a little less expensive. This one is around $250, I want to say. But this is the same hat in his everyman hat. Now this one is just slightly bigger on my head than that one. But here's the same hat in the pre-formed, and then he just bashes them out. So so there you go. Yeah, makings of hats.
Well, that's one of those things that, you talk about it, how the your Casablanca, ran you $450.
Yeah.
And this one, being a little bit more of an entry level at $2 to $250.
Yes.
On some of the groups that I'm on in Reddit, there's a guy, and bless his heart for doing this, and I don't mean that in the Southern way. He lives in China. He's like an expat or a foreign who's, I don't know, teaching English, doing whatever, but he is trying to work with a local producer there to make a decent hat right now out of wool. It's going to be a few months before they can get started with rabbit, but that is something like an truly entry level at like the $75 range. And, I bless his heart for doing that, because there's not enough people out there wearing hats anymore. And, but it's one of those things where it's like taking that extra little bit for ensuring that you're getting the best quality materials,
right?
The best quality craftsmanship. It really does pay off. And how long the hat will last, how well it's shaped when you start shaping it and personalizing it. You want them to be something that you can hand down.
Yes.
Kind of like how
my son had me hand down
there you go. Stole Dad's hat, and
really,
it's one of those things you just and the China portion of the subject is that's an entirely different conversation. But I do applaud him for trying to find a way, because you go and you get something that's in that price range. It's all the same stuff. It's, an improperly shaped block or whatever you're trying to go for. Hey, here's our 1930s style hat, and it's got like a 4.5-inch crown, and you're like,
yep. So that's not 1930s style. By the way, Michelle Cannonbreed, thank you very much. That means a lot to me to hear that stuff. She said tonight's show is timely for you from yesterday. So, it's timely. And I know Professor Bauer can attest to this in his own stuff. He talks about all this stuff. It's timely for us when we talk about it. It means something to us. So we talk about those things.
Well, look at everything going on in the world. I mean, it's
right.
It's really easy to get discouraged and to get downtrodden. I have two sides. Yeah, there's two wolves inside of you. Those hilarious memes, but there's two parts of me right now with everything going on in Israel. Part of me is terrified. What does this mean? Further implications. You see munitions coming in with North Korean writing on them. We all know that China supplies Iran. Iran supplies, Hezbollah and Hamas and all of that. So it's like, where is this all leading? And then you throw in the Ukraine stuff with it. And then there's the little bit of the warrior side of me that's still left after having been out for so long. That's like, oh no, man. No. Let me go get my plate carrier and my full combat loadout. I'll be on the bus to get to the plane. I'll see you guys there in 10 hours. So you have these warring kind of opinions, because when you see the atrocities, and especially if you've ever dealt with anything dealing with extremist organizations in a military fashion, it makes your blood boil, and you want to do something, but you're also, oh God, what does this all mean? So finding the resilience to be able to face that and keep hoping out for a better world, keep hoping out that things are going to get better, that cooler heads will prevail. I mean, like, resiliency factors into everything.
Yes, I agree. I'm curious to hear what Professor Bauer has to say about resiliency. And
I can't tell if he's chomping at the bit to speak or if he's studying and sizing up his potential intellectual opponent.
Here's the thing about people like Professor Bauer that think through things. He's always chomping at the bit to speak. So am I, because I've thought through things, and there are things where you go, I think I have something I've thought through that maybe you all want to consider. So let me tell you about what I'm thinking. And that's what I like about Professor Bauer is he can come on and he goes, this isn't just coming out of my ass. This is coming out of my head, my brain. I've thought about this. I've compared, I've researched, I've studied. Of course you want to talk about it. It's like I used to say about writing a book. I'd say, people say, wow, you sure promote your book a lot, way back in the day. And I said, you know what? Of course I promote my book. I didn't write my book so I could go stack a box of them in my closet. They said, I'd give them away if I could. Go, hey, I wrote this thing. Come and read it. It's good. You know, and
I don't know. I don't know if I'm completely sold on the idea that you didn't just get a box of them to put in your closet. That I wasn't feeling the passion, Scotty.
Yes. The passion was not there.
Well, I will add to that from the create and store perspective. When I took my sabbatical back in '97, and I was able to cash out of my tech career, I said, I need to do something that I want to do. And so I built a recording studio. And the next thing...
I just want to add one thought.
Yeah.
I want to have a career that I can cash out on.
Right? Oh, my God.
Go ahead now.
Well, I was 40 years old, and I had the opportunity to take at least a couple of years off and not have to go, pursue income. So, and I had enough money to invest and build a studio. And originally, I built a studio to produce my own work. And the next thing I knew, I became a record label and was producing everybody else. So we made, 4,000 to 5,000 CDs. This is when CDs were still a big deal, and the MP3 revolution was just kicking off.
Long ago.
For the last 24 years or so, I have hauled the remainder of those CDs with me all across the country. So I finally, after a while, I think I had probably 500 or 600 of each of these 8 CDs that we did. And it was just this last spring that I whittled it down to 1 box each. So I have 1 box of each of the CDs we produced, and threw the rest. I just said, there's nothing I'm going to do with these. They aren't even
going to buy them.
Yeah, they're all up on my website, so you can listen to them streaming there for free. So, I can appreciate the creating stuff and storing it and going, what the hell happened here?
When I was publishing Intrepid magazine, we were publishing it as a PDF that went out digitally. And then we did our first print issue, full print issue, about 80 pages, full color, square bound magazine, for the first Paradigm Symposium. And that was in October of 2012. And I printed up enough of those so we could sell them. We were selling them at a premium collector's price, like $15 or something. And people go, $15 for a magazine? You go, no. Well, that's $15 for a collector's magazine. And we had everybody that was a speaker, from Von Daniken to Giorgio to all the different authors. We had them all write articles for the magazine. And we did articles of our own, and we chucked that thing full of stuff. Well, when we were all done, I had about 1,000 of those left. And just like you reminded me of that. Guess what's come along with me for the last 11 years? Every place we've moved, I've carried 3 boxes chock full of these magazines, about 1,000 magazines, and they're heavy as shit. And I pick those up and I go, they're still with me. So,
Yeah. And, well, the thing about the CDs is that not only did we produce all the music, but I did all the graphics. And we used 2 or 3 different CD manufacturers back then, CD Baby, or CD Baby, CD Maker, and whoever was up. But at that time, I had a promoter out of Canada. His name was Ed Bonk. And this guy was awesome. We were on college stations all over the country. We did station IDs and trailers for the different programs that were going to be spinning our stuff. And we did, call-in interviews. We were down in Louisiana and did some station interviews and shows. But I also published a magazine in the 90s when I was doing my tech career, and it was called Interchanges. And it was about how there was different aspects of the technology and EDI and machine integration, computer integrated manufacturing. And I would go out and find, the luminaries that were on these particular subjects, and I'd have them contribute articles. And then I sold ads to even my competitors for the magazine. So I've still got some of those. But the one thing that I did back in 2001, I opened up the North American market for an English software provider. So they had all this wonky crap in their marketing. They had elephants and monkeys and were trying to sell software. And I said, I can't sell that image and the message here in the States. We needed to upgrade it. So they gave me a little bit of a marketing budget, and we redid brochures and different marketing materials. But the one thing that I did is I had a bunch of pens made, and the name of the company was We Supply.
Do you still have some?
I still have about 300 of these pens, and they're awesome. I keep them because they write great, and they never run out of ink. So I still have a box of those 300 pens, and I use them on a regular basis.
I had black ballpoint pens done with my art company name when I was promoting to a bunch of architects and home builders back in the 80s. I was promoting that I would do their 3-point perspective drawings of their blueprints, meaning putting in all the trees and make the house look, and ink drawings, And I did up a bunch of pens to go along with the brochure I did for that. I carried around about 500 pens from move to move to move to move. And they lasted 2 marriages, as a matter of fact, those pens from the 80s. So, Uncle John, you haven't said a word yet because we haven't said hello. How you doing?
How you doing? Back in the day when we had the portrait and aerial photography operation, my brother Steve ordered us, 100,000 pens because he was able to get them at
they're really cheap at
0.3 of a cent cheaper if he got that many.
Right.
I'm going like, do you have any idea how long it's going to take to hand those out? So every Monday morning before the studio opened, I took several boxes and went around to every convenience store in town and handed them fistfuls of pens. And every Monday when I came in, they were out. So,
wow.
But I think we still have at least a gross.
Get your name out there.
I'm not sure if we still have the sunglasses. We had like 3 gross of those left.
I will be honest, John, and tell you, out of the 1,000 pens that I bought or more, because I gave them out at shows and I handed them out, but I had boxes of those things that lasted me for years and years.
Oh, yeah.
Out of all of those, I cannot honestly say I recall getting somebody calling in asking for my services because they saw my name and number on a pen.
No, I can't either. But it was a flash in front of their eyes.
Yes, it was.
An additional reinforcement. Steve put up a billboard for us that had so many words on it that you couldn't read them as you drove by.
Yeah.
And I said, you can't do that. And I wrote it down, and I said, this is
3-second captive audience with the billboard.
Yeah. I said, this is your new
Burma shave style.
Your new billboard. Get it changed. And he it just had one brief sentence. I don't remember it off the top of my head at the moment, and a phone number.
Nice.
And the company name. Boom, boom, boom. That's all. He doesn't tell him anything. Doesn't have to. You got radio ads out there.
Yeah.
You know, you got every convenience store in town has our pen.
Yep. And they end up on the floors of cars and on driveways and in weird places.
I don't recommend putting your face on a billboard. There are some unfortunate individuals with billboards when I drive out to Grand Forks Air Force Base every morning.
I will tell you, Jason, there are some, the worst ones for me are realtors. And you go,
realtors and lawyers.
There's one like, I'm going to make this up because I don't want to offend anybody. But buy a home from Rebecca. She's been around here for 35 years selling houses and does the best job. And she looks like somebody who's been ridden hard, put up wet, and for 35 years. And I said to Rainey the other day, we're driving by your billboard every day for the last 5 years. Same billboard, same photo. I look at photos of me from 5 years ago. I don't look the same. And, I've aged. But I look at that and I go, that picture, when she put that up, I'll bet was already at least 5 years old. So she's got to be 10 years older than what you're seeing there. And she's not how do I put this? She's probably a wonderful person and has a beautiful personality.
But not very comely?
Not very comely. You might say she's a handsome woman. That's what my wife wants to hear one day.
Oh, Jesus.
Such a handsome
One of my
woman.
favorite billboards is the I can't think of the guy's name, but he's a lawyer, and his billboard in it. I've seen it on memes. It says, "Just because you did it doesn't mean you're guilty."
That's right. Nice. That's a great ad.
Come see me.
Anita Palmer.
Isn't that what they're saying about some of the guys winning swimming trophies in the women's league now?
Yeah,
he's a handsome woman.
He's a handsome woman, and just because he's a guy doesn't mean he can't win a woman's trophy.
Yes.
Just because that should be promoting it. Just because you're a man doesn't mean you can't swim on the women's team.
I'll take topics I won't touch for 400, Alex.
Yes.
Yeah, it takes real balls to be a man and win in a woman's sport.
That's right.
There you go.
Anita Palmer says, I've been told not to put your face on Facebook profile. Or pro-life or profile. Anita, I will tell you, a pet peeve of mine is when I have people that want to friend me and I can't see what they look like. It's not that I need to see what they look like, it's that I want to see what they look like. I tried that on a date once. Problem with that. So a terrorist knows what I look like. He knows what 5 billion other people look like on Facebook too. So anyway, yeah.
Well, I
took
the approach.
About that?
I took the approach a while back, about 10 years ago, when all of the social media got going. I think we still had MySpace back then, and I was on LinkedIn, and there wasn't that much out there to be on. And my initial thought was, well, I'm not going to spread my stuff, and go shake it all over the place, because, I don't know who's out there. But in the last 3 or 4 years,
metaphor.
in the last 3 or 4 years in particular, and with the technology work that I'm doing, one of the shows I did on the Nexus was your identity is your currency. And that is more and more what we're going to transition into. So I completely flipped that idea, and I said, I'm going to own all of me before somebody else does.
Yeah.
So I've copyrighted essentially my identity, my voice, my music, my writings, all the stuff that I do. I've said, I'm going to own it. And if somebody feels like they have a need or they're going to be able to make some money off me, give me a call. Let's talk, because I'll be more than happy to share in whatever kind of profit somebody can make off of me, besides me making profit off of me and what I create. But it's really changed. I think people have to think about the fact that you have to own who you are in all forms, however that.
I have used that argument when people want to try to challenge me online, or they challenge me in a nasty way.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say, look, and they use, some name like Bilbo Duck, 1973 is their name. And so Bilbo Duck 1973 with a picture of a hobbit with a duck bill for his profile picture is trying to tell me what he knows about politics or history or whatever. And it's like, look, dude, and it's not just telling me something, it's trying to tell me off or trying to let me know what an idiot I am. And I'll say, look, you know what? I said, the day I will listen to what you have to say and take it to heart is the day I feel you have conviction strong enough to put your real name and your real face behind your comments. If you're going to get on here and comment about topics and you want people to believe the power of your words, but you don't have enough power in your own name and your own face to go behind that, I don't have time for it. Now, there's obvious exceptions,
Well, there's reasons for that too. There's a lot of people out there that are unsure of themselves.
Yes.
And that unsurety and uncertainty of who you are as an individual is become more of a challenge than it ever has been in at least my lifetime. And what
right.
People, everybody's been given a bunch of different delineations, differentiations, distinctions, identities, classes, categories. There's been a concerted attempt to try to get people to fall into certain categories so that they can be essentially, it's under this big moniker of the oppressed and the oppressor, the victims and the victimizers. So there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of fear,
mm-hmm.
and it's rightly so. But people have to get. It's kind of tough love. You have to get over them so you can get over yourself, because you have got to come to a place where you are comfortable in your own skin. You are authentic in being who you are, and you have to embrace it. One of my favorite things is once you acknowledge and embrace your faults, no one can use them against you.
Yes.
And
that's hard to do that. And I'll do that all the time. I own my own faults. So somebody points out a fault that I haven't pointed out already. It's like, hey, beat you to it.
Oh, that's right. We were going to do a show on your faults, Scotty. When are we going to schedule that?
Anytime you want. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
I could see it now. It turns into that scene from Goonies where Chunk's in the basement with the Fratellis and they got the blender, and then all of a sudden he's just like, and then in the third grade.
Yes. I could be Chunk.
In the Asian cultures, they have there's a common ritual of burning the things that you need to let go of. You write it down on a piece of paper and you burn it. And there are regular ceremonies and events where this is a big deal, or they'll put them into a floating lantern and set them out across the water.
Yep.
Very simple, but very profound and powerful actions that enable you to get over what people have imposed on you about who you are, what your faults are, what they don't like about you, and getting to the core of selfness, which is it's different than selfish. People, and again, because of my linguistic proclivities and aspirations of being a cunning linguistic, is you have to look at what is the self, what is I-ness. Goes back to the conversation we had, I think, on Sunday about consciousness. There's a difference between being conscious and having consciousness. Consciousness is the act of being aware of your conscious, right? So it's self-awareness, it's I-ness, it's in what I call selfness. And selfness to me is the idea of making sure, and I told my girls this a long time ago, and they fortunately have adopted it. I said, if I don't take care of me, there won't be any me here for you.
That's right.
So I have to take care of me first. And that means I'm going to have to put you on the back burner for whatever given time or whatever the activity is. But I have to take care of me so I can be here for you when you need or want, right? And it's a very simple perspective. And I think it's important that people realize that they have to take themselves seriously. They have to put themselves first. It's not being selfish. It's being responsible to your authenticity of who you are. And that exploration is a continual process. You will continually learn about who you are until the day you transition.
Yes. And by the way, I want to make it clear here. Anita Palmer says, you friended me and my dogs were my only profile picture. I posted a picture of me and so on and so on. And I know that Sarah has never shown her picture. There's a difference here. The kind of people I'm talking about versus them. I've gotten to know them. I've had conversations with them. They've been open to talking to me. They're not abusive. The kind of people I guess I should make a point of clarity when I talk about people that go behind false names, don't show their picture. They're usually people, the ones I'm talking about are abusive people. The ones that will be abusive because they deliberately hide behind, you don't know what I look like and you don't want to know what my real name is, so I can be as much of an asshole as I want to be. That's the kind of person I'm referring to. Not somebody like Anita, who I talked with her a bit back and forth. I understood her views already. And Sarah's come on this show and expressed her views. I don't care if Sarah never shows her face. If she doesn't want to, one of these days I'll see it, I hope. But as a friend. But at the same time, I don't care because she has proven who she is. So that's different when I'm talking about that. And Elderberry, I don't recall getting any pictures of you. And you're talking about your chickens. You sent me a bunch of chicken pictures once. Is that what you're referring to? Which one of those? I'd have to go look again. And Pearson, you're sitting in there. We got to say hello to Pearson. You're sitting here in the chat room or on air. What's going on, man?
Oh, sorry, Scotty. I honestly didn't even realize I was in here. But I've gotten that so often, even being visually impaired, people will hide behind. People will hide, but it's funny because I get so many just off the wall questions about things that people wouldn't say in person with somebody. It's people will hide behind being online, like you said, the people that are abusive. I've gotten it to where, being visual impaired, I love conversation and question about being visually impaired. I love talking about it to people because I like helping people to understand a little bit of my perspective and trying to open up to others. It's why I like this show, I think, because,
All
you
right.
know, it's beyond the social constraints of people my age. I'd say I don't know all the viewers, of course, but I'd say I'm probably one of the younger ones for sure. And it's like on the show, it's, you don't have to worry typically about the people that are abusive because you have the people that are interested in conversation. That's very, civil and, well, it's a friendly environment. But like you said, people will hide behind, you know, people will hide behind you not being able to see them or identify them. It's, it's a little crazy sometimes. But I come in here, I completely forgot about it earlier, but I'm on a whole nother thing. I was going to ask you um, if you had planned to do any paranormal shows coming up.
Oh yeah, probably this Friday. So I generally try to do a paranormal show on Friday, and I've gotten out of the habit of that in the last month or so, and
Been
I
a busy
try to
month.
make up for it. But what's that,
Yeah.
John?
Busy month.
Busy
really
month.
has
Yeah,
been.
Israel kind of put me out of my norms. So,
Which I
by the
think
way, hi Claudette out there in the chat room. I saw you say hello. Somebody else was talking, so I didn't say anything. So, who's
honestly,
beeping?
it's understandable. Yeah, I'm not sure. That's not
Is
on
that
my
is that you, Jason? Is that your equipment beeping?
No, it's not me.
Okay.
It's not me.
Yeah.
Oh, I
somebody
know
being
what it
attacked?
is.
Oh,
The baby monitor from my
Uncle
mother's
John.
room.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I'll turn the volume
batteries
down.
are-
Jason, I did
Everything
want to
okay?
make a comment. Did want to make a comment, Jason, on your
Yeah.
iron. That is
Yeah.
one of the biggest, baddest irons I've ever seen. I have iron envy at the moment
Let's see that iron.
because I are an ironing kind of
Oh,
guy.
nice. Yep.
I iron. I've been known to iron stuff that didn't need to be ironed.
I have ironed my undies at times.
I have.
My
have a
underwear is
crease
one of
in
the
the
few
right
things
place.
that I'll be able to pass down to my grandkids.
Embarrassingly
Jason, that
enough,
has to be a military
possibly.
leftover.
What the iron? Oh no, I got this like 3 years ago at Walmart.
I mean the act of ironing. Now, of course, you use it for the hat, but
Right.
most
Yeah,
former
I'm using it on the
military
hat.
guys
Yeah.
I know, they'll iron creases in their shirt sleeves and
When I take things to the cleaners, I have a few shirts that I'm like military creases.
Yep.
And with the nice little.
See,
Yeah.
now that's the thing I did when I was in advertising and I wore a suit and tie every day. And I'm not talking staunchy suit and ties. We were looking, I'm talking 90s and the early 2000s. We were wearing, cool shirts and the kind of almost opera pump type of dress shoes with remember when colorful socks were in? And so they made the really low cut, we call them opera pump shoes, but they were dress shoes like Kenneth Cole's, but really low cut so you could show off the color on your sock without wearing pants that were too short.
Did you ever compete on the women's fencing team?
Never did. And but ties and shirt, everything was the colors were cool. But I always sent my shirts out.
Yeah.
I would send a week's worth of shirts at a time out to the cleaners. And I'd always say heavy starch in the collars and the cuffs, medium starch in the body and the sleeves, and military press on the sleeves. Because I wanted them on hangers.
When I left home at 15, my mom handed me a broom and an iron. And she said, when I come to visit you, I don't want to see a mess around your place and I want your clothes pressed. And that has stuck with me for the last 51 plus years. And it's something that I don't know. There is a compulsion. There may be a little ADD going on there, but I get, or OCD, I guess would be more appropriate. But
CDO.
I love
They
to
often go
iron.
hand in hand. Yeah.
I love to iron.
CDO.
I love shining
Honest-
shoes. I love
If
putting
I-
a spit shine on some of my old military. I have reproduction
Yep.
World War II
Yep.
service shoes and stuff like that. I still spit shine them because when I went into the Army, it was still the black boot days. It wasn't the tan rough out stuff. And shining shoes to get a mirror polish, at
Yep.
least on the toe box and the heel box. It was like almost you went into a Zen state.
Yes.
I could sit there with my can of kiwi with the lid turned over, some water in the
You
lid,
can sit there for an hour
T-shirt.
going,
and
and that's
you
all
know,
we did for an hour.
yeah, it's right. Your brain checked out. You know, the only thing that you had to focus on was, can I see myself yet?
Yep.
And
Yep.
and that was it. It really became. And to this day, like I actually learned to spit shine when I was a kid in high school. I'm a military brat, and you know, as one of those weird ones, like, Dad, teach me how to spit shine. And I don't know why he asked me to do
Now
these
use a
things.
spray bottle of water.
But
Well, when I moved out, in fact, there was a friend of mine from high school that just posted a picture of a waterbed. Remember the old big king size waterbeds?
Yep, I had one in the
And
80s.
my buddy and I, he was a drummer. His name was James Taylor, but he went as T-Bird. And he and I we rented a house from his parents. We were 2 doors down from his parents. And his parents, this was back in 75, 76. And his parents grew weed at their house. So they didn't have any trouble with us smoking weed. So T and I got 2 big old king size waterbeds, and we would have all kinds of parties. I was playing guitar, he'd play drums. We'd have friends that were big jam sessions, and lots of girls and stuff. And I used to, my girlfriends would stay, and I'd wake up in the morning. I always had a nice rolled joint right on the nightstand. I'd hit the joint the very first
sounds
thing.
like something out of a bad '70s cop movie. It's like Mitchell.
and,
That's gonna say.
and
Did
then
you have
by
a
the
leather jacket, leather suit coat jacket with the wide collars that came
Yeah,
out?
I had the trench coat. I had the long coat thing because it, and I had
All
a
I hear is
t-shirt.
like the music from Shaft.
I had a t-shirt. I had a t-shirt with an egg sitting in a nest with a smile on its face, and it was my gig shirt. And it said, "You'd smile too if you'd just been laid." And so
Nice.
I would get up. I would get up in the mornings. I would hit the joint, and by the time my girlfriend woke up, the dishes were done, the laundry was done, the vacuuming was done, everything was clean. And they'd get up and they'd say, how do you do this? And I said, I don't know. When I smoke cannabis, I just go do stuff. I would rather go do things and get it done than not. I never sat around and, got stoned on the couch. It just never happened for me.
Those are the only ones
But
left.
they kept saying, one of these days you're going to make somebody a great wife.
Nice.
Honest to God.
See, my mom taught us how to iron because if I pulled a shirt in the early 70s, mid 70s, when I went to school, and I pull a shirt out of the laundry and it was wrinkled all hell. Mom, could you iron this shirt? And she'll say, no, I'm not ironing the shirt, but I will show you one time how to iron the shirt. And so we'd iron, and we always used either spray starch or a spray bottle of water, so you didn't burn your shirt. But I remember, and Barbie D, this one's for you. Always picked up the iron, you go, to see if it was hot enough. So, yeah. So we,
Get the nice bottle of Stay Flow.
I knew a blind gentleman, and he was a little older. He works at a college up here, and he always joked around about ironing. He said that his mom used to iron a ton, 70s and whatnot. She would iron a ton, and he learned real quickly never to play around and feel around to try and find things in the laundry room when the iron was on. And he would joke around about it. He said, "That's how I learned how to get third-degree burns and calluses on the hand."
Nice.
Quickly. Because he would go around and he joked about that being his punishment. He said, "That's how I learned to pay attention to, surroundings." Because he went blind. He said, all the time. He's like, "That's how I learned to pay attention."
Nice.
Because the iron was always.
When I was in college, now keep in mind, context, folks. When I went to college in the late 70s, I went to a Bible college. Now, this Bible college, guys went to this little Bible college to be ministers. Women went to the Bible college to be pastors' wives. That's the way it was. And I don't even mean that in a sexist way. That's what they did. And the ones that went there because either their parents said, "If I'm paying for your school, you're going to Pillsbury Baptist Bible College." And they'd send them there. They'd usually get expelled before the semester was up because that was not their place and they didn't want to stay. But I remember I was standing with a couple of buddies, and we all had standing with us the women that liked us. We were all standing out on campus talking outside one of the dorms, and somebody was talking about ironing their clothes. And there was this woman. She was a gorgeous woman from Montana, and absolutely beautiful, model beautiful. And she said, "Well, I iron all of Chris's clothes." "You do?" It's like, "You guys getting married?" "Well, maybe." And then the other women would be like, "Well, I iron Bill's shirts." And then I had the woman that I was seeing at the time. She goes, "I don't iron Scotty's shirts. So why don't you let me iron your shirts?" And I said, I said, "No offense, darling." I said, "I don't trust any woman to iron my shirt the way I want it done." And I said, "It's nothing against you." I said, "We could still get married if you want." I said, "But I'll iron my own shirts my whole life." And Rainy's never ironed a shirt of mine, except for an emergency. Rainy throws shirts at me. We're going somewhere. Like when we went out a couple of weeks ago with our friends, I'm ironing a shirt. And Rainy says, "I found these two shirts. Which one should I wear?" And I go, "Wear that one." She goes, "It's all wrinkled." I go, "Well," and I said, "Give it to me." She goes, "Well, here, will you iron the other one too?" "Sure." So I can see how they look. So I ironed two shirts for her so she could decide which one she wanted. And if she needs a shirt ironed, she'd give it to me. "Will you iron this shirt for me, please?" And so, by the way, Barry, I see you messaged me. I'm going to say the one where you're in the white shirt with the wheat field behind you, not the beach, the wheat field. That's the one I like. The white shirt with the wheat field. Oh, wait a minute. Well, the Superman isn't bad. He's got these AI pictures that Barry sent me. Let's see. The knight is cool. The first one with the leathers and the knight. Let's see. What else you got? You got the other knight, the kind of blue with the snow. That's pretty cool. You got the one with the big black leopard tiger in the background. It's black, though. You're in the black leather shirt. That's awesome. That's badass. Superman, it looks a little dorky. Not you. I'm just saying. Looks dorky. Doesn't fit you. The last one with the brown leather looks pretty good, folks. If I had them, I'd show them to you. If I could convert them all over. The badassiest one is you in the black leather shirt, dude. You almost look like that guy from, remember, Avatar. Remember the military commander? "We're going to go out and we're going to kick some bad blue ass today." You kind of look like him in that. So there you go. The black leopard.
Well,
Could
Scotty,
be
to your
a
point about you not trusting any, particularly a woman,
Yes.
iron
It wasn't
You're-
particularly one. It just wasn't.
Well, I mean, you're not going to have, if
Nobody,
you got
yeah.
some dude offering to press your shorts, I think it's a
If I have
different,
a guy,
different
I didn't have any
conversation.
guy come up to me and offer to press my shirt and my shorts. It never happened.
And it's never happened to me either. But the one thing that I was going to say about that is that I did not know until I had a relationship that I didn't know how to properly load a dishwasher.
Oh,
I didn't know that I didn't properly know how to fold towels and how to fold shirts and
dude,
and all of that, right? I didn't know that
dude.
my way of doing it was not correct. And after all of the
Moment.
time and the relationships that I've had, I'm still doing it my way. I'm still going to do it my way.
I'm going to
I
tell you
fold
something.
towels have to be folded a certain way. T-shirts and stuff have to be folded a certain way.
I'm going to
And
tell you something.
I just
Rainey
I
and I
roll my
had these
t-shirts.
conversations on a Sunday morning show about 2 years ago about folding towels. I will tell you something. Since I have been married, now we're going to be married 16 years on Friday, together 18 years. And I will tell you this, still to this day, I don't know how to wash dishes right. I don't know how to dry them right. I don't know how to put them away. I don't know how to cook. I don't know how to load a dishwasher. I don't know how to load a laundry tub.
Yeah.
I don't know how to load a dryer. I don't know. There's a lot of things I've learned I don't know shit about.
Yeah.
And that'll never change. But
I'm
know
sorry.
how to
Did you
iron a
say
suit.
you're not a libertine?
I am not a libertine.
You know, in school, I used to have to deal with all the time. We had teachers, of course, that would try and teach the visually impaired students how to do things. And they used to get so irritated when I tell them, you know, that's all well and grand how you're folding it, but I'm picky about it, and I'm gonna fold it this way. And it used to make them so irritated because we would get that all the time with not just me, but so many visual impaired students.
I remember having an impassioned conversation with my wife. I mean, I was impassioned by this. It was about folding towels. Now, I'm not a perfectionist. I'm not a white glover. I'm certainly not a control freak, but I have a way I fold towels. And
So
it's because
I do too. Let's talk about how do you properly fold
I'll
a towel?
tell you how to properly fold a towel. First of all, what I don't like is towels that will, and they get thrown on the shelf and they're all stacked all like this.
Yeah.
They're folded, but you'd never the hell know they're folded because there's all kinds of loose ends hanging out in corners. And it's like, oh my God.
No.
And so for me, I fold a towel where I fold it in half, then I fold it in thirds, and I fold it over once and twice, flip it over. And what you've got is a roll in the front.
Okay, but hold on
on the
now.
side.
When
No
you
loose
say when you
ends of
say
it.
you fold it in half, do you fold it in half horizontally or vertically?
I go in half. Then I take that half, lay
Yeah.
it flat, and I go 1/3 over, 1/3 over this way.
Oh,
then I go
Jesus.
whoop and whoop.
Dude, that's
I
all
take
wrong. That's all wrong. It's no wonder you get all the shit you do. Let me tell you.
Oh,
let
but
me
it looks exquisite.
tell you how to fold a towel.
How
Can
do
we
you fold
just
a
take a
towel?
moment real quick and
Hold it up.
pause?
You hold it up long ways.
Hold on, Jason.
You hold it up long ways, right? Vertical. You fold that in half, so it's not folded in half horizontally. It's folded vertically,
Lengthways, okay.
right? Length, and then you fold that in half, and you're done.
Well,
Yeah,
see,
you
what
might
I
do
don't
one
like-
more fold depending on, but that you got
What
three
I
folds.
eliminate by the way I fold them, I don't like unfolded edges showing on the sides. There has to be a roll in the front, and it's got to be rolled on the sides. No loose edges on the sides.
Oh man,
Can we
So where do you guys stand on wire hangers?
No wire hangers for me. Wooden hangers or plastic.
Wire
Now-
hangers are used for drain cleaning and for
Yes.
and for arts
breaking
and crafts.
into the car you blocked your keys into.
Yes.
Jason,
I'll be.
we're almost done. What did you have to say, brother?
Oh, I was going to say, can we just take a moment and truly appreciate the discussion that we're having as grown men about how to fold towels? That was
About how to fold towels.
And as for the hangers, I'll tell you right here now. I'm a field kind of guy. I'm a combat kind of guy. If I have a hanger and I can put something on it, I will use it. I don't care if it's wire. I don't care if it's wood. I don't care if it's plastic, unless it's one of my nice leather jackets. It goes on the best hanger I can put it on, or if it's my pinks and greens, those go on the best hanger I can get them on.
My suits all go on wooden hangers with the wooden rod that clips onto the ring.
Clips on,
So
and
you can fold the pants.
and that wood has got the curve to it, right?
Yep, and the wood's got the curve.
Right. And then so when I was doing my suit 10-year back
Metal hangers. Elderberry.
You had hangers?
I had those hangers, and I would put them in my bag. I'd take them with me, and whether I was going to Asia, Europe, wherever, and South America, and I'd always end up coming back with more hangers because I'd stay in these 4- or 5-star hotels that had these really nice hangers. It's like, well, I'm going to take one of them. I'm going to add that to my collection.
Home.
Rip off the hangers
along with the bathrobes, because
the white
in
terry
Japan,
cloth bathrobe and wooden hangers.
In Tokyo, they have got some of the sweetest bathrobes. Oh my God! And I have them here.
Yes. So I'm a purist when it comes to certain things. I'm no prissy primp, but there are things I like. I like my clothes to hang nice. Now, when we have children and chaos, it's not as. I walk in my son's room, and it's like there's a pile of shirts here, a pile of pants there, a pile of dirty clothes here, and except they're not in separate piles. They're all blended. And go, son, where's your dirty clothes? Oh, they're right there. I go, what, the whole pile? No. My clean clothes are in there.
Does he tell you there are degrees of cleanness?
I said, what if you get the clean clothes and hang them up? He's like, you think I'd have just asked him to slit his wrists or something. I love my son, but I got to tell you. Anyway,
there is hope. I will tell you that my daughters were absolute slobs when they were growing up. I mean, complete, full-on medal-wearing, trophy-carrying slobs, and I used to drive me nuts, and I couldn't get their mom to participate in my aggravation. She just says, "You just need to let them alone." So now they're in their 30s. They got their own kids, and they have completely grown out of the slobness. They are now on the ass of their own children, and saying you can't.
I told my kids,
I
said, I cannot wait till you have kids, and I can watch you chewing out your kids for not cleaning up after themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's like some of the little videos you see that are put out, just TikTok type of things. I saw parents the first time we're visiting my kids' new home with their new family, with their new husband. Daughter, and they walk in and they throw their clothes on the floor, kick their shoes across the room. They eat popcorn on the sofa and let it all over the sofa, drop their wrappers on the floor, etc., etc., etc. Okay, guys, for all the beauty that this show is right now, it's past my bedtime, and so I am going to. Oh, Pearson's gone. Good night, Pearson. So we're going to get out of here. I want to thank everybody for being here. Guys, thank you for being here. Uncle John, I'm going to let you go first because I don't see Jason. He's either frozen.
Tell JP
I'm here.
Tell JP
Oh,
to
you're
send
there.
me
Okay. I got a frozen on your,
a
on your
PM.
room there with no person in it.
Oh, really? That's weird.
I want to go to his site and find out how badly I can't afford his products.
Oh, I don't have a webpage.
He doesn't have a
Oh.
webpage up yet.
And
Well, then just mail me a hat.
That's like when I start doing tattooing for real. The first ones are going to be real cheap. You get your tattoo for about 1/3 the cost of an actual tattoo because I have no idea what it's going to look like when it's done. So,
well, with your artistic capabilities, it'll probably turn out okay.
I think it'll be okay. It'll be okay. So, anyway, Jason, I'm going to let you go, brother. Good to see you.
Good seeing you.
I will talk to you soon. Thanks for being here. Be here again next time.
I will do my level-headed best.
Have fun making hats.
Press on there, Jason.
Press on. There it was. All right, Uncle John, good to have you here, brother. We'll see. Oh, wait. I was going to bring Jason back in because he popped back up with his hat on. So, Uncle John, we'll see you later. You have a good night. Nice to see you. Love you, brother.
Dude.
All right. And, of course, Professor Bauer, or as Michelle would say, I never saw this before, Probo. Professor Bauer, Probo.
Yep. She tagged me with that a while back, and every time I see it, I know it's her.
There you go.
But I thought I'd come on tonight and make it 4 in a row.
Wow.
We did Sunday. We did Monday. I got on with you and Wendy yesterday.
That's right, on Tuesday.
Tonight.
And now you're on Wednesday. Holy crap.
And I thought I was going to explore the limit of my presence and see how much stomach would take to put up with that. But thanks again for letting me have some time.
Thursdays, by the way, are my day off of radio. So,
well, that's good. I mean, everybody needs a little time away, right?
That's right. Sounds like a song I once knew. All right, Professor, you have a good evening.
Do
Love
the same.
You. Talk to you soon. All right, everybody else, thanks for being here. Thanks for being part of my life, part of my show. I love the fact that you come in here. You spend your time here. Thank you very much. And so for now, what we're going to do is we're going to get out of here. And so I want to thank you. We'll see you on Friday. Same bat time, same bat channel. We'll have a paranormal show lined up. Unless current events dictate otherwise, we're going to do a paranormal show. So all of you, thanks for being here. Live long and prosper.